Hello there, very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1. For the news first, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says Global North must pay compensation to the Global South for brain drain. Wajirabe Vardhana says certain officers in the Finance Ministry and the Central Bank must be investigated through intelligence units. Former Central Bank Governor Ajit Nivard Cabral says the declaration of bankruptcy of Sri Lanka is part of a conspiracy. Opposition expresses views regarding the bankruptcy.
තමුන්ගේ රෙදි ටික හොද ගන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන වැඩපිළිවෙල ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා.
හොරාගෙන්ම තමයි දැන් පේන අහන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Farmers protests in Valimada demanding a proper price for potatoes.
මේක පිටිපස්සේ තියෙන්නේ මැති ඇමතියන්ගේ බලධාරියන්ගේ කුමයිස් කුට්ටි කියන එක අපි දන්නවා.
Department of Census and Statistics says the gross domestic product reduced during the second quarter of 2023. One nation, one heartbeat. Finals of the Asia Cup to be held tomorrow.
හෙට මැච් එකත් අනිවාර්යෙන් අපි දිනනවා.
අපේ කොල්ලෝ අය සුපිරි අය.
අපි සුබ පතනවා අපේ සිංහයින්ට.
On to those stories in detail. The finals of the Asia Cup 2023 is set to take place tomorrow at the R. Premadasa Cricket Stadium in Colombo. The match will be played between defending champion Sri Lanka and India.
The Asia Cup 2023 commenced in Multan, Pakistan on the 30th of August in a grand scale with 6 teams taking part. Nepal and Afghanistan dropped out of the tournament, leaving India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka in the Super Fours. After winning the first 2 matches in the Super 4 rounds, India secured their spot in the finals of the Asia Cup 2023. Sri Lanka qualified for the finals after defeating Pakistan by 2 wickets in the Super 4 rounds. India has won the Asia Cup 7 times, making them the best performing country in the Asia Cup tournaments. Defending champion Sri Lanka has won the Asia Cup 6 times.
The fans encouraged us a lot during the recent past. They showed us a lot of love. They did not discourage us. The performance of the players attracted the fans. We are entering the fields tomorrow with a proper game plan. We invite the fans to come to the stadium and watch the match and show us some support. Mahesh Theekshana will not be able to play tomorrow as he has gotten injured. The side will play tomorrow will be similar to the team that played before.
Captain of the Sri Lanka women's cricket team, Chamariyatha Pattu, extended well wishes to the men's team led by Dasun Shanaka.
Our team performed well in the Asia Cup. I wish them good luck and I hope they get the strength to perform exceptionally well. We can definitely win the Asia Cup. We have a team that is capable of beating India.
News First spoke to cricket fans around the country about the finals of the Asia Cup.
ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට ජයෙන් ජයම වෙන්න කියලා කප් එක අපිට හම්බ වෙන්න කියලා.
ලංකාවේ කොල්ලන්ට හදවතින් මාදරේ අනිවාර්යෙන් අපි දිනනවා.
අනිවාර්යෙන් අපි සුබ පතනවා අපේ සිංහයින්ට.
ආයේ ඉතින් දෙකෙන් එකක් නැහැ දිනනවා ඒකත් ඈ. අපේ කොල්ලෝ අය සුපිරි අය.
වාසනාව කියන්නේ මේ සැරේ අපිට පන්දු 6ම අවසන් වෙනකන් වෙලඳ දැනීමෙන් තොරව සිරස දුන්නා නියම විදිහටම ගේම් එක.
මේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ජය ගන්නවා ආසියා කප් එකෙන්. එනේ ජය වේවා.
කණ්ඩිපා ජයපෝ. ජය වේවා. ජය වේවා.
සුබ පතනවා ඉතින් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ආසියානු කුසලානේ ලංකාවට ගේන්න හැකියාව ලැබෙන්න කියලා. ඉන්දියාවට නම් ගහන්නම ඕනේ ඉතින්. අපි හිතනවා මේ පාර මේ ගිය පාරටත් වැඩිය හොඳ තරගයක් දෙයි කියලා නොදකපු තරගයක්. අපි හොඳට ගහන්න කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා අපේ කොල්ලන්ට ජය. කායේ කොල්ලෝ ජය ගන්නවා නම් අපි සතුටුයි. අපිට ඕනන්නේ එච්චරයි.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා කණ්ඩායම අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම දිනනවා. ඒක දෙකක් නෑ. දන්නවනේ ඉන්දියාව මොනවද? සලාම කියන්න ඕනේ මේ සිරසට ස්තුති කරන්න ඕනේ. කිසිම බාධාවක් නැතුව මැච් එක පෙන්වන්න ඉඳා. වෙනදා වගේ නෙමෙයි උද්‍යෝගයේ උනන්දුව තියෙනවා. එනර්ජිය තියෙනවා. මේ සැරේත් උස්සනවාමයි ඔය කප් එක.
Catch the Asia Cup finals. live at the Yes 101 screenings this Sunday the 17th at CRNFC 3 p.m. onwards. For passes, text 0755 000 101 in association with TV1.
TV1 is the official local broadcaster of the Asia Cup. All matches are being broadcast live on TV1 and sirasatv.lk. In other headline-making stories, President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the crucial role of science, technology and innovation in overcoming the current development challenges faced by developing nations worldwide. He expressed these views speaking at the summit of the heads of state and government of the G77 and China in Havana, Cuba yesterday.
The Group of 77 plus China summit commenced in Havana, Cuba yesterday under the auspices of the Cuban president.
Good morning again.
Cuba, for many decades, as a champion for the concerns and aspirations of developing nations within various multilateral fora. In the 15th century, Asia was the most technologically developed region. Europe had advanced only in a few sectors, including gunpowder, cannon, and ocean-going ships. These three technologies helped Europe to conquer the rest of the world. The conquest of Asia and Africa set back the development of science and technology in our countries, creating the technological divide of today. Our continuing economic restructuring process after the financial crisis of 2022 provides us with a chance to harness the potential of science, technology and innovation to our future trajectory of sustainable development and high growth. The digital divide presents significant challenges to the development in the global south. These include limited access to costly technology, inadequate digital skills and infrastructure, cultural and institutional barriers, and financing constraints. The brain drain from south to the north and the resulting loss of educated manpower is another threat to the development of science, technology and innovation of the south. China, India, Japan and South Korea have developed science, technology and innovation by nurturing their own manpower. Therefore, we must ask for compensation from the north for the loss of our manpower. Strengthening South-South cooperation can also play a significant role in addressing the critical issues of expanding our human resources. Sri Lanka urges the Group of 77 and China to work together to introduce a scheme similar to the Colombo Plan to increase collaboration, exchange best practices and push policies that harness the transformational potential of science, technology and innovation amongst us. Sri Lanka is committed to supporting the new Havana Declaration. We must ensure that the collective voice of G77 and China is heard in the international fora.
World leaders who participated in the summit posed for a group photograph.
UNP parliamentarian Vajirabe Vardhana says that the government should investigate some officials of the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka who make economic decisions through the country's intelligence units. He made these remarks making a special statement at the Parliamentary Select Committee to investigate process for financial bankruptcy.
UNP parliamentarian Vajirabe Vardhana and former Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral were summoned yesterday before the Parliamentary Select Committee to investigate causes for financial bankruptcy declared by the government.
You stressed that it is illegal to declare bankruptcy. You also stated that the parliament should not be held responsible for this. $70 million needed to be paid to China on the 12th. The time period of 1 year to repay these amounts ends in December. The total amount accepted by us in 2022 needed to be paid. We needed to pay further $3.9 billion. The government had paid $3.2 billion by April. In the process of making this payment, the Minister of Finance resigned, and so did the governor of the central bank. Meanwhile, a governor came to Sri Lanka from abroad. As soon as he arrived in the country, he declared bankruptcy. He did something he was not supposed to do. This committee needs to investigate what the officials in charge were like during the time the country was declared bankrupt. Their actions back then need to be investigated. This committee should investigate if the children of these officials are enjoying special benefits. I do not think that it is fair to declare bankruptcy over $70 billion. The officials of the central bank need to be carefully investigated by the committee. Officials in top positions of the Ministry of Finance also need to be carefully investigated. The country's intelligence units need to pay special attention to this matter. The houses of about 100 public representatives were set on fire. The main reason for all this was the lack of control over the situation. Is the mistake a technical error made by the central bank, or was bankruptcy should not have been declared at that point? The Finance Committee of the Central Bank had not taken any such decision by the time bankruptcy was announced. Neither had the cabinet. However, it was announced. Personally, I believe it should not have been done. If we are a country that paid $3.2 billion from the $7.1 billion, and if we have time until the end of the year to complete the payment, we cannot be bankrupt. It was not the world that declared our bankruptcy. We did that. The fault is ours.
Meanwhile, speaking before this committee, former Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwat Cabral said the declaration of bankruptcy of Sri Lanka is part of a conspiracy.
A new Treasury Secretary and a new Governor was appointed on April 8th. April 9th and 10th was a weekend. The 11th was a state holiday. The day after that, April 12th, was a working day. On that day, without issuing prior notice, the central bank governor and the treasury secretary declared bankruptcy, surprising the entire nation. No one was ready for that on the first day. Even an owner of a small shop would try to avoid bankruptcy. If you properly observe these incidents, you can see that this decision is not something that happened randomly and that it was taken after much planning with the intention of declaring bankruptcy. In this attempt, this team focused on the sovereign bond payment of $500 million, which was to be paid in January 18, 2022. We repaid all debt obligations that were due to be made in the first quarter. Default status would be established if that $500 million was not paid. That means the non-repayment of one bond would mean the non-repayment of all bonds. With this, whether we like it or not, bankruptcy will be declared. I believe they aimed for that.
Does that
mean that both of you and the finance minister was removed to implement this conspiracy? Definitely. They couldn't do that through us. We always said that we will repay the debt. Had they approached the cabinet, parliament or the attorney general before making it public on the 12th, those factions would question them as to what alternatives can be taken. That did not happen. If they had done that, they would have to provide explanations. Then even we could provide evidence, because I had the details of the funds that were to come from India and China. I believe the finance minister also knew how much we were supposed to get from India. We postponed it to the ACU. We had money then, which means more information would also get revealed. That means that certain conspiratorial groups had intentionally ignored official discussions, the real situation, and worked to destroy the country's economy.
SJP MP Hector Appuhami expressed the following views regarding the reason for the withdrawal of opposition members from the Parliament Select Committee to investigate causes for financial bankruptcy.
The group of opposition MPs left the committee because as soon as someone like Sagara Karyavasam was appointed as the chairman, we have to investigate actions of the SLPP with the chairman of the SLPP. It is the SLPP government that has put us in this situation. The government MPs try to create a certain narrative. Cabral fuels it further. They're making this look like a movie. These people think that the people of our country are donkeys. The president has appointed someone who could whitewash the reputations of those who led the country to bankruptcy as the chairman of the committee. He has done so because this group made him the president of the country.
Parliamentarian Chandima Veerakkodi spoke about Sri Lanka's decision to declare the country bankrupt during a media briefing today.
From what I heard, then President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and an MP representing the Galle district threatened Cabral at a cabinet meeting to declare the country bankrupt and default on its debt. A cabinet minister shared this story with me, but he had a different story to share with the select committee. There is a huge concern over the accuracy of the details of what is discussed during these meetings. Everyone is trying to pass the ball on the decisions that led this country to dire straits.
Executive member of the National People's Power, Nalin Hevage, expressed the following views regarding this committee.
ඉතිහාසයේ අපි අහලා තියෙන්නේ හොරාගේ අම්මගෙන් පේන අහනවා කියන. ඒ ආප්තෝපදේශය වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕන හොරාගෙන්ම තමයි දැන් පේන අහන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේ බංකොලොත්භාවයට වෙන කවුරුවක් ඕනේ නැහැ.
It is people like Wajirabe Wardana, Sagar Karyavasam and Basil Rajapaksha and Namal who are responsible for the bankruptcy. Therefore, there is no need for Wajira and Sagar to speak nonsense. Mahinda Rajapaksha was there for a long time, and then there was Wajira and Ranil, so no one else should be responsible for this. The team including Wajira and Ranil should be responsible.
අනිත් පැත්තෙන් රනිල්ලා ප්‍රමුඛ නඩයක්.
Chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajamahavihara, Venerable Dr. Balava Hangunavave Dhammaratana Thero, made the following statements regarding the Parliamentary Select Committee to investigate causes for financial bankruptcy.
මලපොතේ අකුරු දන්නේ නැති
There are politicians who do not have any knowledge at all in this regard. It is like an elder's home. Yesterday it was said that the reason for the country to go bankrupt is the officials of the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and that no politicians are responsible. They are creating a narrative of their own and saying that the state's intelligence should investigate into their actions and monetary transactions. These are all jokes. The Ministry of Finance is under the Ministry of Finance. The current finance minister and the previous ones should also be summoned. Former CBSL governors should also be summoned and inquired as to what happened to the funds and who looted them. The people of the country should not be fooled anymore.
Journalist Mohan Samaranayaka says the end result of the management of Sri Lanka by global financial authorities would be tragic. He made the statement delivering the keynote address at the annual meeting of the SLPP Lawyers Association.
Parliamentarian Mahinda Rajapaksha was also among the attendees of the event.
Sri Lanka tamange balakakshe atuli tabagan
The superpowers in the world have the aim of keeping Sri Lanka under their authority. In order to do so, they need to have leaders who are obedient to them. The presence of a leader who cares about nationalism does not sit right with them. The regime change project in international politics topples such governments. The presence of a leader who accepts nationalism and sovereignty is not something that these major superpowers like. It was this political factor that was behind the 2022 Aragalaya. Our country has come to a point where it is being controlled by financial authorities. The end result of this story could be a very tragic one, just like those in Haiti, Libya and Syria.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that claiming power of the country through shortcuts is not the policy of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya.
Had I made deals back then, I would be president now. I could have made a deal with the 134 SLPP parliamentarians who led the country to destruction. However, we remain true to our policies. We do plan on making a deal in the future. That deal is called the social contract involving 22 million people in this country. Some say that we should somehow occupy the premiership, even if we have to go against our own policies. Sajith Premadasa is not someone who is willing to do so. Ranasinghe Premadasa's son, Sajith Premadasa, is not ready to become Prime Minister, President or even a minister without the mandate of the people.
Another leg of the Sadham Yatra program was held at the Galigamu Vatarama Rajamahavihara in Kego. This is the 1500th leg of the Sadham Yatra program.
While the reason for Sri Lanka's bankruptcy is under the spotlight, farmers in several provinces are struggling to save their crops from the arid weather conditions and wild elephants. Farmers in other areas are struggling to get a proper price for their harvest. Potato farmers in Valimada protested today, demanding a fair price for their harvest.
The protest held at the Nugatalava field in Valimada was organized by the Upcountry Vegetable Farmers Union belonging to the All Ceylon Agrarian Federation. Farmers say that the harvesting of potatoes has commenced. However, there is no proper price for the harvest.
The price offered at the Capitipol Economic Centre is about 150, 160 or 170 rupees. We have spent about 285,000 rupees to cultivate 40 perches of potatoes. We will not get the sufficient income. Look at these crops. They are extremely weak due to the lack of water. We cultivate 250 kilograms of potatoes and reap 1000 kilograms of harvest. Even if we are given 180 rupees per kilogram, we will be able to earn only 180,000 rupees. How are we supposed to live? We voted for one parliamentarian and sent him as a representative of over. We warned the trade minister, all the rulers of this country, not to leave their houses.
Do not abandon us. Our children are helpless. We have pawned all our lands. We do not have any means of living. We have come to a point where we are unsure if we will get dinner or if we have breakfast. Please do not make us even more helpless.
This is the situation of the potato cultivation in the Nugatalava field. Farmers say that they have halted the reaping of harvest due to the lack of a proper price for it.
Look at these crops. It is time for them to be reaped. It has been almost 3 months since we cultivated. We are not reaping the harvest because there is an issue in the market. If not, we would have reaped the harvest. If it rains, all these crops will get destroyed. We beg you to provide us with a solution as soon as possible. This is the last time we will be begging. Please make a suitable arrangement for this.
Are the potatoes purchased from farmers at a low price available to customers at a low price as well? This is the situation in the markets. A kilogram of local potatoes was being sold at the Narahenpet Economic Centre at a price range of 320 to 400 rupees. A kilogram of imported potatoes was being sold at a price range of 260 to 280 rupees.
इंपोर्ट करने का 260 කන කිලෝ එක අපේ ලංකා එක වෙලා 800ක් කන කිලෝ එක ලංකාල 320යි දැන්ට විකුණන්නේ රටාල 240 කිලෝ එක විකුණන්නේ දැන් පියල් 150ට ඒ කට්ටියට අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපි විකුණනවා තව මීට වැඩි අඩුවෙන්.
A kilogram of local potatoes was being sold at the Kandy Special Economic Centre at a price of 260 rupees. A kilogram of imported potatoes was being sold at a price range of 220 to 240 rupees.
ලංකාල 240 කිලෝ එකක්. රටාල 240යි එහෙම විකුණනවා. ලංකාල ගණන් වැඩි නිසා විකුණන්නේ නැහැ. රටාල ලාභයිනේ. ලංකාල 130යි 500යි. රටාල තියෙන 200යි කිලෝ එකක්.
What is the mafia going on behind the price hike of local potatoes when neither the farmer nor the consumer benefit in the end? Farmers of Valimata say that the reason for them to have to endure such losses is the importation of potatoes.
The importation of potatoes takes place in a way that challenges local farmers who cultivate not only potatoes but also the other vegetables. We know that there are ministers and officials who earn commissions through these procedures.
The request these farmers make is to not let what happened to the local big onion cultivation happen to the local potato cultivation as well.
According to the Department of Census and Statistics, the country's GDP has contracted by 3.1% compared to the last year during the second quarter of 2023. Revealing the national accounts estimates for the second quarter of 2023, the department stated that there was growth in the agricultural sector. However, there was a decline in the industrial and service sectors. Accordingly, the GDP in the second quarter of 2023 is 2,597 billion rupees. However, in the year of 2022, the figure was 2,680 billion rupees. According to the Census and Statistics Department, the gross domestic product has contracted by 3.1% compared to the previous year. However, there has been a growth of 3.6% in the agriculture sector during this quarter. The Department of Census and Statistics says that growth rates have been recorded in grain cultivation, plantations, paddy cultivation, agricultural support services, tea, vegetable and fruit cultivation, as well as fishing and meat products. However, there is a setback in the industrial sector and the service sector. The Department of Census and Statistics says the industrial sector will experience a decline of 11.5% in the year 2023 and a decline of 0.8% in the service sector. According to the report, financial services declined by 18.8%, professional services by 9.3%, IT services by 8.5%, telecommunication services by 4.4% and health services by 2.6%.
News first with the people.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has made arrangements to hold an auction of treasury bills worth 170 billion rupees on the 20th. The related bids can be submitted until 11 a.m. that day. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka stated that the payments for the treasury bills should be made on the 22nd. In more local news, Federation of the Health Professionals says the inspection of the PET scan machine at the Colombo National Hospital has been halted.
So far, the Ministry of Health has stopped recruitment only for certain services. Sri Lanka has only 2 PET scan machines. One machine is at the Apeksha Hospital. The other machine is at the Sri Lanka National Hospital. The last time we did PET scans at the Sri Lanka National Hospital was on the 13th. We have had to stop after that. Now there are no PET scans being carried out at the Sri Lanka National Hospital. It costs more than 300,000 rupees for a patient to do this test in private hospitals. We have had to stop these PET scan tests as 2 out of 3 specially trained officers have left the service so far. One officer retired, the other one left the country. It is not possible to do PET scans with one officer. PET scan examinations at the National Hospital have now stopped within the next period. Examination services and treatment services are to stop in most hospitals in Sri Lanka. In particular, the Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital, Peradeniya Sirimava Bandaranaike Children's Hospital, Kandy National Hospital, Colombo National Hospital, Jaffna, Anuradhapura, Batiklo, Polonnaruwa, Ratnapura, Badulla, Karapitiya, general hospitals and teaching hospitals. Due to the abandonment of these recruitments, the services of officers related to paramedic services, especially CT scans, MRI scan tests, PET scans, laboratory tests, drug delivery are to be disrupted.
Health workers in the Northern Province have been banned from using social media during work hours. Northern Province Health Services Director Dr. T. Satyamurthy said that the action was taken based on the complaints received from the public. However, permissions has been granted for the use of mobile phones at the duty level. Northern Province Health Services Director Dr. Satyamurthy said he received complaints that some health workers are using mobile phones during duty hours, inconveniencing the patients. 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident of shooting at 2 people on the 10th of September in Ratmalana.
The arrests were made during an operation conducted by the Police Special Task Force. A person from Megoda area has been arrested along with a Turkish-made pistol used for the shooting, live ammunition and other similar weapons. A 28-year-old resident of Nugegoda has also been arrested on charges of concealing the car used for the shooting following the interrogation of the previously arrested suspect. The Police Special Task Force said these suspects are the closest accomplices of Priyantha, a large-scale drug dealer and an organized criminal who is currently in Dubai. A suspect has been arrested with more than 1 kilogram of the drug ice in Jaffna during a raid by the Police Special Task Force. A van used for transporting ice has also been taken into custody by the police. The 70-year-old suspect is a resident of Velvetiture.
The new Polpitigama police station, for which the foundation stone was laid in 2007, was declared open today.
The opening was held under the auspices of Public Security Minister Tiran Alas.
The police station will not become a beautiful place, although its surrounding is. The beauty of the police station depends on the service rendered by the police officers. There are many, even in Parliament, who blame the police. Even those MPs, whenever they are in trouble, end up coming to the police station in search of assistance. We need to do that properly and render a proper service to the people. No room should be left for the drug menace or the underworld. If we manage to eradicate them, this area would become a more beautiful place.
An event to explore photojournalism organized by the Sri Lanka Press Institute was held in Colombo yesterday.
A A workshop titled Capturing Tomorrow, Exploring Photojournalism, organized by the Sri Lanka Press Institute, was held in Colombo yesterday. The workshop was conducted by the two-time Pulitzer Prize winner photojournalist Esdra Suarez.
The state of photojournalism around the world is very high because now we live in a society where it's so mobile. We can go from point A to point B so fast. There are very high names that are showing up at places and telling the story really, really quickly. If you think a story is important enough for you to tell it, then you yourself need to tell it. So you get it going, you get it started, and then you show it to someone else, and hopefully somebody will make it. Never ever stop making a story because you think that the photos will never be published. Don't do that. Serve your own soul, serve your spirit. Feel like, do what you think is your duty, that of telling the story. That's what photojournalism is all about.
Photojournalism is an art form that plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of the world, and this event will shed light on its significance in a changing global landscape.
Today marks the 23rd day of the second leg of the LOLC Divi Savya Social Welfare Program.
Under the LOLC Divi Savya program, school books and stationery equipment sufficient for 1 year are provided to students of schools with less than 100 students. Today's program was carried out centering schools of the Wali Common Education Zone in the Jaffna district. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Vimanikam Mahavidyalaya, Periyavilan Roman Catholic Tamil Vidyalaya, Valipuram Tamil Vidyalaya, Varuthalavilan AMTN Vidyalaya, Panalai Sri Kannasamy GTM Vidyalaya, Marisan Kodal Subramanya Vidyalaya, Marisan Kodal Roman Catholic Tamil Vidyalaya, and the Pon Paramanadara Vidyalaya. The LOLC Divi Savya program is carried out with the support of the Ministry of Education and is sponsored by the LOLC Group.
The UN says around 800,000 people in Libya were in need of immediate humanitarian aid before the floods. At least 11,300 people have died due to the torrential floods on the 10th of September that destroyed large parts of the eastern city of Derna.
Turkey, Egypt and the United Arab Emirates have sent rescue and medical teams, but the amount of aid that is arriving there doesn't appear to be anywhere near the volume of support needed. The head of the United Nations World Meteorological Organization says that most of the casualties in the devastating Libya floods could have been avoided if the divided country had a functioning meteorological service. World Meteorological Organization Secretary General says that if there would have been a normally operating meteorological service, they could have issued warnings. He also says that the emergency management authorities would have been able to carry out evacuation of the people and they could have avoided most of the human casualties. He further says that Libya's National Meteorological Center did issue early warnings for heavy precipitation and floods, but they didn't address the risk posed by the aging dams.
Shifting your attention to sports news, Samoa got their World Cup campaign up and running with a 5-try bonus point victory over Chile in an indisciplined encounter. Samoa defeated Chile 43-10. MTV Channel Private Limited is the official broadcast rights holder in Sri Lanka and is proud to bring you the action of the twists and turns of the drama of every match. The tournament is being broadcast live on TV1 and streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. The South Americans are the lowest ranked team in the competition but held their own in the opening 40 minutes, even scoring the game's opening try through tight head Matias Ditas. After 4 penalties from the boot of Cristiano Lelalifano, Samoa led 19-10 at the interval thanks to a late try from fullback Duncan Paiavo. A look back at your local names. Several explosives have been found in the Victoria Reservoir near the 16th kilometer post of Padiyapalella Road in Kandy. The Police Special Task Force has seized several explosives including 4 grenades and an anti-aircraft bullet, 9 bullets used in automatic firearms. The seizure was carried out based on a tip-off received by the Kalatu Oya police. The police special task force has defused the explosives. Further investigations are being carried out by the police. From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Sabdinis, and you take care and good night.